The followers of Jesus, they are not the standard. Hypocrites prove that people fall short, not that Jesus is a false teacher or false person.
It moves barriers for people when you are willing to own up to your mistakes as a believer, as a follower.
Jesus is going to take care of hypocrites.
Welcome to the No Fools Podcast. Christians are judgmental and unloving.
Christians are judgmental and unloving. I would say first, from a human perspective, people are likely and genuinely responding to real hurt, real pain that they probably have experienced when they say Christians are judgmental. You and I were talking in your kitchen. Sadly, there are Christians who are overly judgmental and rude, crude,
and they make it more difficult for the rest of us that are trying to
and they
share the love of Jesus.
Those are barriers and such. But I would say it is important to remember that the hypocrisy among followers, that does not disprove the truth of Christianity.
Yes.
The truth of the faith. Jesus said himself that the world would know his disciples by how they love one another. And true Christianity, true faith reflects that. So a basic truth, I would call someone, don't reject Christianity just because someone fails to misrepresent Jesus. John 13:35, again, by this all people will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another. So the skeptic, Christians are too judgmental and loving. Let's look at Jesus, the teacher, the master, right? Let's see what he said.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the analogy of like when someone plays Beethoven poorly, don't blame Beethoven, you blame the player. And so when somebody plays Jesus poorly, like you don't blame Jesus because the shortcoming is on our end, the part player, the Jesus follower, because we're imperfect. So I think that's why it's so essential for us, his followers, to set aside our any self-righteousness, get off the pedestal of any sort of spiritual superiority, and you have to pick up the cross of humility daily, because if we're acting in this self-righteousness of like, oh, I am called, I am following, I am doing better than you, I am doing the correct things and you are doing the wrong things, it really hurts our witness.
100%. You think about a doctor. If a doctor is telling you that you have cancer, or if a doctor tells you you have a life-altering diagnosis, are they cruel because they're telling you that news?
Yeah.
We wouldn't say that they're cruel.
Yeah.
We would say they're loving, and we kind of have to have that approach, especially with Christians. The gospel is confrontational. The gospel does step on toes, right? There is this notion, like Jesus judges. He is a judge. We have to come to grips that we're going to stand before the judge of all the earth. The Bible calls Jesus. But it's like a doctor telling us our diagnosis.
Yeah, and then you get mad at the doctor and not wanting to go to the hospital because like there are patients there that are sick.
Right.
But you are sick too.
Right.
You know?
Right. Judgmental, unloving, yes, Christians are that, but the message of Jesus, it steps right at the heart of the sin, the evil, the wrong that we've done, and that's why it hurts. There's real pain. People could have been hurt. Obviously, we'll get into that. But it calls, when I was in college, I went to a university, and it was very left-leaning. But long story short, there was a group on campus, and I led FCAs. I led men's Bible studies, and there was a guy. He was professing to be gay, and I ran into him one Saturday night, and we had a full-on conversation, me and this young man. And at the end of the conversation, I was explaining the gospel. I was explaining where I stood about the sin of LGBTQ and homosexuality, all that. However, at the end of the conversation, he said, I cannot believe I viewed you, Andrew, as harsh, rude, a negative way, because I disagree with you, Andrew. This guy said, but I appreciate how you communicated that. And he was shocked. Let's just say that there was that air. Just because Andrew is a Christian on campus, therefore he is judgmental and unloving. Mm-hmm. But no, we had a conversation. I think that's what it will take. can you get somebody one-on-one?
Yes.
Essentially, can you meet somebody where they're at? So
Yeah, I a really, really good practical example of this that just happened actually is my wife's brother is doing Young Life at UMass. He's in school at UMass, and one of the people that was attending Young Life he's younger. He professes that he is gay and was really, really, really anxious to go and like stay in the guys' dorm. I mean, most of his friends are girls and stuff, and that's what he finds comforting and relatable. And he was really anxious to stay in the guys' dorm at Young Life and with the guys because they thought that they would be judgmental towards him, harsh, overbearing, mean to him. Because he said all the guys at his school are mean to him, essentially. Like, practically speaking, guys aren't nice to him because he says that he's gay. But he goes to Young Life and he is around all of these believers, these guys in their bunk that he literally said, this is the first time that guys like haven't been mean to me. Literally professes Jesus 2 weeks later. Like that is the love of Jesus. Like when you show somebody love and you meet them where they're at and show them Jesus versus showing them that they're wrong. Like the power of Jesus's love is what will ultimately change hearts.
sometimes I even think like your presence with the Spirit living inside of you, your presence alone can be convicting at times when people come to know you, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, to this objection, focus on the teachings of Jesus.
Absolutely.
First, if you have that objection.
Yes.
Teachings of Jesus, who he is, what he did, what has been accomplished by him. I would focus there.